Hi guys, what is up? Welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, hi, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Rutvik. If you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I fucking love you. This is the first video of the new year, and so happy 2024, happy new year. I hope this year is everything you want it to be. For the first video of this new year, why not start off with recapping my favorite books from last year, my favorite books from 2023. Really wanted to do like my favorite 23 books from 2023 because 2023 it just like satisfies a little part of my brain. But when I sat down and I made a list, I ended up having like about 32 books in the list. I did not want to let any of them go, but I, after a lot of time, was able to shortlist them. All of them are like splayed out on the bed over here. I have the 23 favorite books of 2023 are over here. These are not in any particular order. Please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall. And apart from them, I also have the rest of the honorable mentions. I really enjoyed these books, but when I sat down and I shortlisted all of them, when I was attempting a sort of ranking, the rest of them were the first 23, and then these are the rest of them. Let me put my hair up because we are about to get down to business. We're going to start off with the first book on the list, which is Where Mayflies Live Forever by Anupama Mohan. This was my first 5-star read of the year, and what's more important is that it's an Indian book. I don't really read that much Indian fiction or any sort of like Indian authors because I just don't vibe with the writing style. I don't really vibe with the references and just like the writing style that the modern contemporary Indian fiction has. But this is a literary fiction book and I ended up loving it so much. It's a story of a murder mystery, but at the same time it's a story of like female liberation. I don't know if I want to go down into the plot of every single book because if I do that, the video is going to stretch out way long. You guys can obviously Google it up. I really loved the writing in it. It was so beautiful, it was so poetic, and the story itself, the book itself, it was just so hypnotic. It was so harrowing. It is so liberating for the main character of the book. I really love the storytelling of it. It's a murder mystery wherein you are creating the picture from the point of views or from like the witness accounts of every single person who is involved in the case. That is one part of the story, and the other part of the story is our main character's liberation. It does talk a lot about rape, sexual assault, and just a lot of heavy stuff, so definitely look up trigger warnings. Heavy hitting, but it is just so well executed. I'm just so happy to have this book on my best books of 2023 list. After that we have is a short story collection which is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. This book is translated by Anton Her, who is one of my favorite translators. Anton Her's translation is just so effortless. It does not feel like you're reading a book which was written in a different language. It just feels so natural and so very well executed. So I love Anton Her's translation. As for the book, it's a collection of short stories which are just so outlandish, so bizarre, so out of the world, but they are just so good. I absolutely loved this collection as a whole. There are a few stories which I like, not my favorite, which I don't think about often, but the main stories in here are just so memorable. They will never get out of your mind. They are just so like dreamlike horror. They are so bizarre but just so layered. Like if you look into it in detail, you can find a lot of social commentary, a lot of political commentary, and I just loved the way this book was executed. Bora Chung's next book, her next collection of short stories, is coming up in 2024. It's also translated by Anton Her, and the book's name is Your Utopia. I've tried so much to get a proof copy of it, but I guess I'm just gonna have to wait. I am just absolutely in awe with Bora's just imagination. If you love reading bizarre, if you love reading wild and just completely unexpected short stories, this is the book for you. The entire Heartstopper series. I don't want to get out the rest of the books. They are on the shelf over here, but it's just one of the most heartwarming, one of the most happy happy series of graphic novels, and I am absolutely in love with every single character in here. It has great representation. This book is like a happy love story which every single LGBTQIA plus person dreams of, and I'm just so happy that we get to experience this. I am so excited to read volume 5, which literally came out like 2 weeks ago. I still have not been able to get my hands on it. Best believe when I get it, I'm just gonna sit down and read it that same exact moment. After that we have is the Six of Crows duology by Lee Bardugo. I'm putting the first book in my top 23 books and the second book in my honorable mentions, because like you guys can count it together. If you guys want, you can count it separate. This is like one of the purest forms of escapism. The writing is good, the pacing, the storyline, the characters. The characters. I am absolutely obsessed with each and every character in this book. It's a classic trope of found family where every single person is coming from a wild and a very like difficult background, but they are banding together for an impossible mission. And just I love this book series so incredibly much. Lee Bardugo's writing is just like, she's like the perfect fantasy writer, because she just has the ability to transport you to the world that she's created. It's so rich, it's just so full of adrenaline, it is so action-packed. I love every single character in this book, but my favorites are obviously Inej and Nina. I love both of them so much. It's like one of the best duologies I have read and I will ever read. It's like a classic book talk favorite, and it is worth the hype. After that we have is a short little Greek mythology retelling, which is Medusa by Jessie Burton. I have always empathized with the character of Medusa, because when you like learn about her in her myth, like you just immediately understand that she was wronged by the gods, and this book just humanizes her in such a beautiful way. I love the writing, it is so lyrical and it's just so beautiful. It's also a really short book, but it just does a lot. Completely makes you empathize with Medusa and like makes you fall in love with her and makes you see her story from her point of view. I can't wait to read more stories by Jessie Burton. I think so she's coming out with another Greek mythology retelling. Easy 5 stars, because it was just so well written. After that we have is every year, like I don't think so you guys can see, but you guys see that little shelf over here. You guys see the shelf over here? That is my all-time favorite shelf. Last year I had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 2022 I had 5 additions to it, but in 2023 I had just 1 addition to it, and that is Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. What can I say about this book? Think about this book so often. It is just a work of art. It is just a work of art. First of all, the title is so beautiful, Alone with You in the Ether. It's a love story, but it is not a romance book. It is about Aldo and Regan, who are just going through their own shit. Both of them are messed up. They are like imperfect characters, and it's a story of them falling in love. It just completely made me fall in love with reading a proper, well-executed love stories. I don't really read romance books that often, because I like to read a story which is just so impactful and just like hits me so hard. Not to say like I don't like reading romance, I don't read it that often. Like it makes for like a good passing time type of book, but books like these just stay in your heart for so long. I loved the writing in this book. It is just so beautifully done. I love Olivia Blake's writing so much. I love her writing so much. I can't wait to read the rest of her books that I own. There was a paragraph in this book, I think so it's page 92. If you guys have it, you guys will understand. Oh yeah, page 128. And once I was done reading that part, I was like, I sat there for 15 minutes and I was like, what the absolute hell did I just read? It was genuinely one of the best things I ever read. Like, I literally brought out a pencil and I wrote, wait, what? This is so good. Wow. If you are a sucker for good writing, if you're a sucker for complex characters and an imperfect love story, this is the book for you. I know it gets its hate, but this book was just so well made for me. And once I finished the book and once I read the author's note, at that time the story became even more precious for me because this book is written by Olivier, as like she also goes through some mental health issues, and there was a time when she herself felt that she was not worthy of love, and her own husband proved her wrong, and so she wanted to write a story which makes people feel that way. It's a story which tells you that no matter how imperfect you are, you deserve to be loved because you are. I want to get the hardcover with like the beautiful sprayed honeycomb edges, and I want to like display it on my shelves. After that we have is a mystery thriller, which like when I turned the last page I was like, yeah, this is 5 stars. This is full-blown 5 stars, which is The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels. The plot of it is very vast and very complex. I won't go into explaining it. The way this book works is that it's about a main character who is a true crime author, and there's this case she is researching for her new book. Whatever research material that she collects, like all of the newspaper clippings, all of the interview transcripts, and all of the emails and everything that she sends, all of it is organized in a chronological order, and it is compiled in this book. And as you go through that research material, as you read through those, you see the story happening in your head. So astonishing. It was just so well executed. When you read, your mind usually turns off because you are just so lost in the story, but this makes you work. Like, the entirety of my mind was engaged when I read this book. I sat down at about 7 p.m. one night and I was done at 2 a.m. because that is how addictive this book was for me, and for that reason I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. After that we have is a mystery thriller, which is so completely psychotic that you get into the character's head and you are like, what the fuck are you doing? So wild. And it's not wild in like a really graphic or like a really traumatic, or it's not wild in like the extremity of it, but in the small little psychotic things that our main character does, it is just so wild. And the book is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. It's also one of those stories which, like, once you sit down and get into it, you won't put down the book until and unless you're done with it. I was so fortunate to get a proof copy of it, to get to read it early and just get to experience this wild book before everybody else. I am like absolutely speechless as to the way this book progressed in the end, because it was so wild. Like, I can't explain it without spoiling it. I want you guys to read it. If you like mystery thrillers, if you like psychotic wild characters, if you like the series You will love this book. You will love this book so much. Do look up trigger warnings. After that we have is a classic unhinged woman book, which is Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. This is about a mother who one day starts growing hair on her back and her body, and then she slowly starts to turn into a dog. She's a depressed artist who is just struggling to be a single stay-at-home mother. Not single, but just her husband is away a lot for work, so she is kind of like a single mother. So she's buckling under that stress, and one night when her baby won't sleep, she just loses it completely. I did not expect this book to be so emotional and just so full of like insight into motherhood. I thought this was just going to be like a classic book about just losing your shit and becoming unhinged. It is like that, but I definitely enjoyed this. It's so feral. It is like graphic at points, but it's not like traumatically graphic. This book was just so well executed, and you really love our main character and you get into her head and you get her point of view, and I love when a book makes me do that. The book talks a lot about being a mother and what it means, and how once you become a mother, it kind of consumes your identity. Like, you are a mother, full stop, nothing else, for most of the times. And when that happens to you, you will lose it after some time. You are just more than a mother, and this book explores that, and I absolutely loved it. If you are looking for like a unhinged women, unhinged female character, you know, like that genre which is very popular right now, if you're looking for a book to fit into it, this is a really good pick for that. After that we have is a book which I listened to as an audiobook, which is called This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Mohtar and Max Gladstone. It's about Red and Blue, who are on the opposite sides of a time wall. So as they hunt each other down through space and time, they leave each other letters, and as they write these letters, as they send these letters out, they fall in love with each other. And the writing in this book is just so absolutely picturesque. I don't want to say lyrical so many times throughout this video, so I'm trying to think of different words to like give me the perfect adjective. It is so picturesque, it is so vivid, and it is so lyrical. I said it. You just absolutely like fall in love with the writing of the book. The plot of it, the concept of it, it is so unique. It is a bit complex, so I will definitely recommend having a physical book on hand, physical or like an ebook on hand, because it will just help you understand everything a lot more. I just was so in awe of the grandiosity of the plot. So complex, so big, so grand, and that conclusion, that climax. There is this unreleased Beyonce song which is called Dreams by Boots featuring Beyonce. I want you guys to listen to it, and the climax of it, the melismatic runs that Beyonce does in that song, the climax of this book feels like that, because it is just so, like, I am speechless. Like, I have no words to explain it. I am looking to get a physical copy of it very soon because I just want to display it, and it's like a really brilliant piece of art. After that, we have is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I read this book literally in about 4 to 5 hours because it is just so addictive. It is so addictive. R.F. Kuang is like one of the most popular writers online right now. She's the author of the Poppy War trilogy as well as Babel. I've not read any of those books yet. This was my first time reading an R.F. Kuang book. R.F. Kuang can write a book. She writes so... Her writing is just so brilliant, so good. It's about Athena and June. Athena is an Asian writer and June is a white author. Athena is very popular, her books are bestsellers, whereas June, she's literally a nobody. Her books did not even sell 5,000 copies, and they're friends because they were together in writing school. Athena dies in front of June, and June finds Athena's unpublished, nobody knows about it manuscript, and then she steals it and she publishes it for her own. What happens next is the rest of the story. It has a lot of commentary on social media, cancel culture. It talks about publishing industry, racism in publishing industry, and just like the whitewashing, token representation. The book does a lot. It is very messy, but it is meant to be messy because the main character gets into messes literally every few pages. I love this chaotic, dark book. It's a literary thriller of sorts. This was the first time I was rooting for a villain, because even though June has done an absolutely horrible thing, she kind of did not deserve half of the things that she went through because of it. I don't know what that says about me. Yeah, definitely pick this up. It is worth the hype. Then we have is another messy, toxic, complex book, which is I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. This book is about a main character who is in a relationship with the man she wants to be with. That is his name throughout the entire book. The man she wants to be with, he has another lover who is called the woman I am obsessed with. And what our main character does, she develops an obsession with the woman she is obsessed with. This book explores things like obsessive love, race, privilege, social media, and power dynamics. It's about an unequal relationship. It is just so toxic. It is so complex. This book is like your darkest thoughts, the darkest corner of your mind put on paper. There is this one page in this book where I was like, did you literally print out the darkest corner of my mind? I literally underlined this entire chapter. The chapters are very, very short, so if that motivates you to read a lot faster, then you will fly through it. Brilliantly executed, so brilliantly written, and I can't wait to read more books by Sheena Patel. I have been filming for about like 45 minutes by this point, so I think I'm gonna stop over here, and I will catch you guys with the part 2 of this video very, very soon. If you're watching this a bit later, I will link it down in the description box below, so make sure you guys go and see my thoughts on the rest of the books. And yeah, I will see you guys very, very soon. Thanks so much for watching this video. Bye.